Hi, Paula here from My Whimsical Little World, and this week we're going to be working on a bokeh background, and I found this bokeh background, or how to do it, on YouTube, so I will provide a link as to where I got the initial tutorial for it. And we're also going to be working to make this little card, this cute little card here with Hula Hoop Halley, and she is being released March 2nd, that's right, and she will be available at My Whimsical Little World shop on Etsy, which is also known as Paula's Papers. Okay, so I did take it a step further than what was shown in that I wanted more contrast in the glitter and I wanted more texture. So I went a little nuts there with the glitter, not completely nuts. I was just, I used the Wink Estella, the clear and the pink, okay? And I also used the Tattered Angels Twinkle Yellow, and it just gives this really nice overall finished look, and it gives it a little bit more shimmer, which I really wanted. It was too flat for me still, so I needed something more, and that Tattered Angels really took it to the next level for me. So here are the things that you're going to need. You're going to need some watercolor, whatever it is you're using. I use these ones, Cotton Watercolor, and the one I have here is Lemon Yellow and Rose Madder. So those are the two that I'm using, and you're also going to need some white ink, and I'm using this one right here from Stampin' Up. Now you're going to have to be careful because this takes quite a while for this type of ink to dry, and applying the heat gun to it, it really is not going to rush it not really that fast. So just take your time with it. The drying process takes a little bit because of the white ink, and you're going to need a dauber, okay, to apply that white ink. You're going to need, of course, some brushes and some water. And I have my wash brush where I apply the wash first of water, and then I'm going to move over to these two brushes and just play. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to play. The important thing about this is you don't want to overthink doing this, because once you start thinking about it, then it just it starts to look not good. So you just want to just let it go and just did I just say let it go? Just let it be. Just go with it. There you go. Just go with it. And don't overthink it. Definitely do not overthink it. Now, the watercolor paper that I'm using is the Tim Holtz Distress Watercolor cardstock, but you can use and cut up watercolor paper. It's all good. I just have this stuff because one side is smooth and the other side is like water. It's got tooth to it, so I have the option. I've been looking in art stores and I have not been able to find that kind of paper, so that's why I stock up on the Tim Holtz watercolor. But larger pieces I use the traditional ones, and Tim Holtz I use, or like when I'm making cards, I like to use these ones here. They're already pre-cut. Take the guesswork out. Okay, I'm also going to be using, I just punched out with my punches various sizes of circles for my bokeh, and then I also have my stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and I love it that, you know, I can select how much, the density of the dots that I want, and this is going to be for my glitter. So yes, that's it. That's all we're going to need. Okay, so let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is you want to get your paper really wet, and so I'm just taking my wash brush here, and it's a 1-inch. And they're expensive, but you don't have to get these ones. Like, you can use any brush. It's just, I watercolor a lot, so. And I'm really soaking it in, because you want to have the water there, because that's what's going to be moving your watercolor. Now, I also have cats in my house. Grrr. I'm not happy with them right now. I can see some cat hairs there. You're also going to want to have some, something to wipe, some tissue, napkin, anything like that. Okay. Now I'm going to get my watercolors, and I'm just gonna, I don't know if you can see that in there, but I'm just putting it in my palette here so I can mix it up, and there we go. Put a little bit more yellow. And I love these watercolors in the tube because the pigment is just beautiful, and it goes so far, you know, it goes the distance. like all these things here, you'd never want to throw that away. There's still color there. You can go back with a wet brush and pick up all that color. Okay, so now what I want to do is start with applying my color. So remember what I said, we're not going to think about it. So the first thing you want to, the second thing, not the first, we already did the first, and that was to water it. Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit more water there. Oh, I'm going to kill my cats later. Okay, and then get your brush really wet. And then I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to pick up some pink paint, and I'm just going to start blobbing it. I'm just going to start blobbing it. I'm not even thinking, I'm flip-flopping. Okay. Now if you feel that that's too much for you, then you can always just go back in and put some water. And if you feel that the pink is too light, you go back in and you pick up some paint, not with so much water, and then you just apply it. The important thing is you're not creating a design, like you have an idea of where like I'm thinking the sunshine and stuff like that. So the direction and a diagonal is always pleasing to the eye versus something up and down straight. Okay, so now that I have that there, now what you can do is, if you feel that some areas, especially like the water starts to pool, so you want to pick it up, but you have to be careful not to dab it too much because it's just going to absorb it all. So just go over it, like hover over it, and then the tissue will pick it up. You know, do I want to add a little bit more of something? And I do, but I want it to be a bit more precise. So I'm going to use my round brush here, and I'm going to not use a whole lot of water, just a little bit. I got some on the tip of my brush, and I'm just going to let it be. I'm doing some wigglies. I see cat hair there. Okay, and it's too bright, the contrast between that to that, but I like that once I bring my tissue over, that I get there you go. It's not so soft, and I like that. And I'm just going to leave that there, and I'm going to rinse off the watercolor off my brushes, because these brushes are costly. Okay, I want to take care of them. Alright, so I'll put those aside for now. And I'm just going to, because you have to make sure that this is dry. Fairly dry actually. Alright, so now what I want to do is want to create our bokeh. So I'm going to grab my stencil. Now the larger ones, you're going to want to make them a little bit more translucent than the smaller ones. So we're aiming for a look like this. Like you can see the big ones, you can barely see them. Whereas the little ones, they're more pronounced, so you can see them really well, so I added more ink to them. So I'm going to get my dauber. Okay, there's my ink. Got some of this stuff, and then you just start putting it in. I don't put too many of the big ones because it's a small space. So I'm just going to add 3 of the big ones because it's a pretty large circle. And if you can see that you can see the hint of it, and that's how I want it. And I always like my things in triangles, but not perfect triangle. There we go. And now this one is going to be darker. You'll see it a lot more than the others. There you go. Okay, so I think that's good for me. I'm good right there, and I'm going to end it there. And I'm just going to get my tape off so I can show you a little up close. Okay, so there is my bokeh background, and as you can see, it's really, like, you see how wet it is. So I'm gonna let that dry, and then we'll be back. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our stencil here, and we are going to, I'm going to tape this down first, so I don't have the same thing again happen where it was moving. Okay, and you don't need a whole lot of tape, just a little bit, and don't press it down hard like I had done. There you go, just gently, because I just want it to hold. And my ink is not completely dry, but it's good enough that I can work with it. And I don't want a whole lot of sparkle there, so I'm going to use the bottom because the bottom has less. And then I know where I'm putting it too. I'm not having to, oh, should I put it here? Should I put it there? It's like, boom, it's done. Now I'm also going to stick down my stencil, because the first time I'd done this, I didn't. So what happens when I get like super excited doing something, I just do it. And then I have my afterthoughts. And you see how it's lifting up? I don't want that to lift up. I want it to stay down. Okay, good enough for now. Alright, I'll have to push it down with my hand. But I've got both my Wink-a-Stellas. I got my clear and I've got my pink. So now all you do is you just go around wherever you want. I'm going to start with my clear first, and I'm going to start just putting in, here I'll zoom in. I'm going to start putting in where I want my glitter. Okay, so it's tedious work to get all that in, but it's going to be worth it. Alright, so I'm just going to very carefully remove my top stencil here without moving, because I want to wipe it, and then, whoops, don't want that to go down. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to wipe it clean from any Wink-a-Stella on there. Okay, so for this part I'm going to take my pink Wink-a-Stella and I'm just going to, okay, and I'm really loving the pink and the yellow and how it all came together, and then the bokeh is just like toning it down a bit. Move that up there like that. So, and you know, I love pink, so of course I'm going to use pink. I love pink. Anything with pink. Next time I'm going to try like pink and orange. That would be good. Alright, so now I'm just going to bring it down just a little bit more, where there's the density of the little dots here is greater. I'm not going to worry this time about bringing it down because I'm not going to do all of it. I just want it to be around, like scattered here and there. I just want some contrast. So, because the pink Winkestella is like really super bright, and I'm not going to do the like the big circle one. I'll probably just do maybe 3, and that's about it. Okay, and you see that, I hope you can see it, it's creating a contrast, which I really like, and it's just another layer of texture. So I really, really like that. Just gonna clean off my stencil here. Okay, so now we have our little, and I'm gonna have to glue that down. So I'm just gonna take some Tombow because it was a fairly big little piece there that I ripped off. So I'm just going to put down a little bit of glue there, the tip there, and Tombow will get it. You can't really notice the tear, but I don't want it to be flicking out either. Okay, so now the part. Now this part you're going to have to remove the stencil, or the washi tape, your masking tape, whatever it is, because you want to get it on the overall. Okay, and even though we have the white border around here that we used for the mask, and I was very careful in how I laid it down so I would have a little border around it, but what we're going to do now is we're going to apply some Tattered Angel. And when we apply the Tattered Angel, some of these sprays, they behave erratic. It's never consistent where the spray is going sometimes. So you have to be careful where you shoot it. I'll roll up my sleeves for this one. And I'm going to keep my distance. I'm not going to be close like this because then you're just going to get a blob of this stuff. So I'm going to come up way up nice and high, and then I'm going to spray. And this bottle's been giving me a little bit of trouble, so I'm hoping it'll work here. There we go. There you go. So as you can see, I hope you can see, but what it did was like it just made all the colors just come together, and even though I have that contrast there, it just muted them down just a little bit, but also changed the pink too. So I really like it, and it's making the Winkestella, the pink, really pop out. And as you can see, it's also lifting my watercolor paper, which is okay. I'm going to take a heat gun to it, and I'm going to dry it up. Is nice and flat, but it was super important that I remove the tape because I was able to get the Tattered Angels on the border. I didn't really want it to be truly white. I wanted that white to blend in with my bokeh here. Now the stamp that I selected for my card is from Simon Says Stamp. It was in one of the kits that I subscribed to, the card kits, and I'm using the one that says "You're a Winner." And I'm using this Stampin' Up! Strawberry Slush. Oh, I want that job where you name colors. What a cool job that is. So, and I'm not going to use any punch outs or anything like that to make it stick out. You know, if I do something like this, I'm not going to do that because I really want my focus to be Halley, and I have her on a wobble thingy, so she's going to be moving and so it'll look like, you know, give her some movement. She's using a hula hoop, so I don't want that competing with the sentiment. So I'm just going to stamp the sentiment with a color that will make it pop out a little bit, but still blend in with my background. And I know that Haley's gonna go right there. I love how she's shaking. She's like, okay, I'm ready to hula. Okay, so I'm gonna do right here, and I'm holding down my paper here because I don't have ink. Look, I'm using my all my stuff is covered in ink. I'm holding it down because it's a little bit up in the air there for me, and I don't want it to smudge. It's a one-shot deal unless I want to do this all over again. Okay, so here we go. So I'm just going to hold it down. And of course I had to stick with the pinks. You know, I love my pinks. This is your winner, and I love that stamp. It's such a cute stamp. I love the font. Ouch, okay, I just got some strawberry slush all over me. Okay, that's okay, I'll just wipe it up. Okay, so now what I've done here, and before I stick my Halley on here, is I actually ran out of the wobble things that I had ordered from my dealer, Tracy from the Embellish Connection in Canada, in Ottawa. And so I didn't have any, but Michael's has them on sale for 15 cents. So I never used them, so I just took it apart, and because I needed it. I needed Halley on one. Okay, but before I do that, I need to get my card and everything ready. So there's my card right there, and now I'm just going to pull the adhesive off of this wobble. They certainly don't make it easy, do they? Gosh, wouldn't it be funny if there was a certain way to do this, and here I am making a complete fool of myself. But I didn't see a tab saying pull here. There we go, I got it. Okay, so where's she going to go? She's going to go right here on an angle. And there she is. And she moves, and I like it. Ooh, she wiggles. Oops, but she needs to dry first. Silly me. Okay. There we go. You stay there, Halley, and don't move. Okay. So there we go. We have a little wobble card called Your Winner, and with our digi stamp for March 2nd release at My Whimsical Little World. I hope you liked the tutorial, and as I said, I have the link to the lady who I saw it from first. I don't know who was first to get it, but I saw her tutorial. I thought, wow, I really want to try that, and I also just wanted to give it a little bit more texture, and I'm really happy I did that because I really love the contrast. I think it would have been, I just really like it. It's a lot of bling, and I wish you could see the shimmer there. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Maybe you can see the shimmer just everywhere. The Wink of Stella, the Tattered Mist. It's just beautiful. So I hope you liked the tutorial, and I will see you next time.